everybody, Daryl here with a quick tip for you, and boy is it a good one. Listen, how many times have you been in your local supermarket, your favorite super center, or your meat market, and you came across a piece of meat that was so large and priced so well that you could not pass it up? You did, however, only because you knew that you had no way to cut it up. Fear not, my friends. I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do so that you don't miss any more great deals. Take a look at the size of this piece of meat. This is all you need to do to handle this, even if this meat was frozen solid. All you need is a reciprocating saw. Who doesn't have one of these in the garage or somewhere close by? It doesn't matter what brand you have because they all operate the same way. This happens to be a Milwaukee. They're not paying me. But it doesn't matter if it's Ryobi, Craftsman, DeWalt, any of the other brands. The principle that they operate is all the same, so it does not matter. Go to your garage or your tool chest, get your reciprocating saw. Here's what you do though, and pay close attention. Come here, because some of y'all are not gonna be listening. The first thing you want to do is clean this off. When you're cleaning it off, make sure you don't get any water inside where your motor is. Clean it off. Clean it off because while you're cutting your meat, you don't want no wood chips and you don't want no oil or anything else that you may have cut earlier, fragments of metal, getting into your meat. So clean it off first. Second, get yourself the proper blade. And I'm going to say this before I tell you what type of blade to get. Do not use the blade that came with the tool. Do not use any blades that you have in your toolbox. Why? Because first of all, look at that. What do you notice? These blades are painted. You do not want painted blade coming in contact with your meat. Second, they're not made of the right material. Here's what you need. You need a stainless steel blade. They're easy to get and they are inexpensive. Just go to Amazon and type in stainless steel blade for cutting food or cutting meats, and you'll see 100 different choices. Again, they're not that expensive. Get one. Get your tool, clean it off. Pop it in, and it will cut this meat like butter, even if the meat is frozen solid. Keep in mind though, when you're looking at these on Amazon or wherever you're looking at them, try and find a multi-pack, one that gives you blades of different sizes. Why? Because you don't want to be limited in terms of the type or size of meats that you can cut. You may have a simple roast one day, you may luck up and run over a deer. Then you got some deer meat. So most sizes that I think you probably would want would either be a pack that has a 9-inch and a 12-inch blade. That way you're not limited on what you can take apart to put in your freezer. And then lastly, on the blade front, keep those in your kitchen. Clean them and make sure they're sanitized after each use. And since they're stainless steel blades made for cutting food, keep them in the kitchen. And it's not just meat, it's any type of food that you have that's large that you want to break down. Your trusty reciprocating saw. Give me a moment and I'm going to show you what the proper blade looks like, and I'm going to demonstrate how easy it is to cut through any size meat. All right, stand by. Okay folks, I'm back. I took some time to freeze the meat and I want to show you that it is rock solid. Rock solid. So we're going to cut this in just a moment. Before we do that, I want to show you what the blades look like that you would order from Amazon or eBay or any place you can get stainless steel blades specifically designed for cutting meat that will be eaten by humans. So come here. Remember before I told you to look for a multi-pack that had blades of different lengths? This is what the blades look like. They're stainless steel, there's no paint on them. The metal is extremely hard. And again, these are specifically made for cutting meat, especially frozen meat. Now, had I gotten a shorter length, you You see what challenges I would have trying to cut this large piece of meat? That's why you want a multi-pack. This, I believe, is the 12-inch blade. See, I should be able to get through that without much difficulty. It's cordless. Be sure to take the battery out. If it's electric, make sure you unplug it before you put your blade in. So once you've done that, you simply get your tool, pop this blade in, make sure it's secure. See the length of that? See how, see why I told you to get one with a longer blade? You never know what type of meat you might come across that you want to cut. So if you have the longer blade, you should have no difficulty getting through that meat. Go ahead and put your battery back on, so we're ready to go. So first things first, I'm going to take the plastic off. And as you folks can see, come on in. As you folks can see, that is rock solid. So I put a towel underneath my cutting board because I want to make sure my cutting board doesn't slip. And then I have to decide which way I'm going to go. This is a pork shoulder. I know that there's a bone in it because I cut some off of this to make a dish earlier. It really doesn't matter with this particular saw, but I just kind of sort of want to know. I think I'm going to cut it this way. And I'm going to have my towel here so that I can put it over it because this is extremely cold. So let's say if I go like so, and here we go. Okay, now I'm going to turn it around. As you can see, it's going through there. It's not much, I'm not having much difficulty. It's just a little awkward. And you get a little, few tiny bits of bone and meat, but no big deal. So just be aware of that. All right, so let's continue. I'm going a little slow because I don't really want to cut into my cutting board. So I'm trying to stop ahead of reaching the bottom of the cutting board. So I'm going to turn the meat around. Okay, folks, thanks for bearing with me. Let me tell you what my issue was. If you notice, my blade got stuck in the meat. Don't do what I did, boys and girls. When you're cutting the meat, this will cut right through it, but the blade gets warm. And I stopped to talk, and so the blade froze around, the hot blade froze around the cold meat. So don't do that. When you're cutting, just cut right through. And if you have to stop for whatever reason, take the blade off of the meat because the blade will be a little bit warm and you don't want it to fuse through to your meat. But if you look here, you'll see I cut right through both sides. And then now I'm going to make this a smaller cut. Okay, so I want to show you again how easy it is. I need to use a towel because this is extremely cold. And I think that's probably about half. So let's go ahead and cut through this puppy. There you have it. Now, I didn't go all the way through because I don't want to cut into my cutting board. It looks like I still have a little room to go, so I'll go down a little bit further. this puppy is so incredibly cold. See that? See that? And there's a large bone in here. This gets a little messy, but it's nothing that you can't deal with. And then we'll go ahead and we'll finish this puppy off with the other side. That looks about half. So let's do it. There you go. All right. So as I wrap up, just a couple things. One, I've said it many times already. I'll say it again. Don't use the blades that came with your tool. Get a blade that's specially designed for cutting meat. Two, when you're cutting, cut right through the meat. Don't do like I did and stop and start talking while the warm blade is in contact with the meat, because the meat here is so cold that the blade, your blade will stick. And then lastly, you see you got a few little fragments here from cutting it. It's really not a big deal, but just keep that in mind when you cut your large piece of meat, so that you don't cut it in an area where, or try to cut it in an area where you can minimize your cleanup. All right, there you have it, folks. See you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.